Welcome back to Stamping at the Warren, and I'm Kim Tolton, and today I am sharing with you another balloon celebration card make. It's a congratulation card. I thought this would be pretty cool for a new baby, and this was my first mock-up. The one I'm going to do with you will be slightly different because I just felt it needed a little bit more tweaking, but it's essentially the same card. So the stamp sets that we're using are the Balloon Celebration stamp set, photopolymer stamp set, and it's a multi-step stamp set. So the one I'm using has 3 steps to it, but you could actually make even more steps than that. It's got some beautiful sentiments in there and some accessory stamps for making your own designer series paper backing if you want. So I'm keeping it fairly simple. So the first thing that you need to do is make your card base. So I've trimmed a piece of thicker Whisper White cardstock to 21 centimetres by 14.8 centimetres. That's just a regular A6 card base. Scored through the middle of that long side at 10.5 centimetres. Fold so that the ridge is on the inside of the card. Bring the opposing edges together, and then you just want your bone folder to bring that fold down and burnish it to make a nice crisp flat fold. Next you need to trim a piece of Night of Navy cardstock, and this is going to be the matte layer that we're using. So this is 14.4 centimetres by 10.1 centimetres. Then you need a piece of regular Whisper White cardstock that measures 14 by 9.7 centimetres. And then lastly you want a strip of designer series paper. Now I've taken mine from the Have a Cuppa designer series paper stack, but I felt that the colour scheme I was using today, this would work really well. And this measures, and I've got to get my brain straight, it's 5 centimetres deep by so brain has gone completely blank, 13.6. So 13.6 centimetres long by 5 centimetres deep. And the first thing that you're going to do is actually stamp some background onto the Whisper White cardstock, and for that I'm using the little accessory stamp. So there's a solid star stamp and an open star stamp. So I'm going to use a combination of the Island Indigo and Tempting Turquoise ink, just the classic ink pads, and you're just going to randomly stamp that top section. Remember, you're twisting and turning. A lot of this isn't going to be seen, but it's nice to have it done. Do some edges as well. And the easiest way to check if you've got far enough up is just by putting your designer series paper in, and it will tell you. So then I've double mounted my little stars on a small block, and it just makes it easy so I can turn. So I'm just going to swap now, check on my grid paper. I've got the open heart now, so we're going to put some open heart, open stars, and remember getting some that are going off the page, and it needs to be a completely random pattern. I twist and turn. There you go. And then I'm just going to ink that off a little bit and pop in a few tempting turquoise as well, just to lift it a little bit. There you go. So that's that top section done. So you can now pop your designer series paper down on here. I'm just using fast fuse just for speed. There we go. And before I mat that onto the Night of Navy cardstock, I've got some Lost Lagoon stripe ribbon here, and I just think that that works actually really quite well with this paper. So just snip it off a little bit longer than the length of your card, and you're going to use a piece of tear and tape adhesive just to run along the centre of that ribbon. And the lovely thing with this is it actually sticks nicely and is a really easy finger lift, so there's not too much in the way of angst when you're trying to take the adhesive backing off, as you can see there. So this is going to go down on here. Get it fairly straight, make sure you've got it on a straight line on something. I use my grid paper, so that works nicely for me. And then just wrap the excess around the back like that, and then some fast fuse on here, and this can now be mat onto the Night of Navy cardstock you trimmed at the start. See what I mean? Nice quick card. It's a really good one if you are a younger mum or a gran with lots of grandchildren. This is a great card to have in your repertoire, purely because they are so quick and easy to make, and you can you can have them ready assembled and to this level, so you could have pink versions and blue versions for all those grandchildren or all those children parties, etc. that you're going to. Right, so just a bit of fast fuse onto the back, or you could use tape and tear and tape I should say, or you could use Tombow. I think adhesives are often down to your personal choice. I like fast fuse because it's fast, it fuses and bonds for just about forever, and it's archival. So that's the base, that's now mounted onto your card base. And the last bit is making, so I'm just popping this out of the way. So we're going to make the sentiment label. Well, actually we haven't, because I want a few stars on here, so that what we're doing is tying this in with this. So this time I'm going to use Night of Navy, and that little star stamp you're just going to pop a few little stars in there. Just so, and that just ties the card in with the paper. Right, next is to make the balloon, and this is the bit really I'm demonstrating. So what you want now, this comes as a bundle, so the stamp set and the coordinating punch comes as a bundle, and if you was to buy those two items plus maybe some designer series paper, you would almost certainly qualify for your free Celebration product. Yeah, and there's lots in there, lots of choice. Right, if you turn the punch upside down, you will see that there is a small punch, small balloon, and a larger balloon, and they're facing in different directions, and that means when you're stamping, you want to make sure you're stamping the right way up. So if you're stamping a small balloon, it's easier if the balloon is stamped upside down, and if you're stamping the large balloon, it's easier to stamp it so that the knot, if you like, of the balloon is actually on this edge here. I hope that makes sense. I'll try and show you. Perhaps that would be the easier way. So if I just use it as an example, if you're using the large punch like this, okay, and you go in there, if you then try and pop this in, it will go, okay. If you was to do the same with that small one, because it's upside down, you won't be able to punch it out. So you would want the image to be this way round. So when you're doing the small balloon, you want the image that way round, and then that bit would slot in on the smaller balloon there. Hope that makes sense anyway. Right, let's turn over. So you start with the least defined stamp, working your way up to the most defined stamp. So there's 3 stamps in this step process. So this is the least defined. There's very little detail to it other than really a little bit of definition for the knot at the bottom. So that one I'm doing, turn my ink pads around so I'm using the right ink pads. Right, so the bottom one I'm doing in Tempting Turquoise. And what I'll do is I'll show you different, and look, I still did it the wrong way around, didn't I? Right, let's do it this way. So we want a balloon there, so you can stamp there. If you stamped again, you would get a washed out version. There's no reason why you couldn't and still use that, because as it builds, that would be fine. So that's that. If you chose to use Island Indigo instead, when you're using photopolymer, it's a really good idea to hold your stamp down and just give it maybe 30 seconds. You're not pressing hard on it, you're just allowing the ink to be absorbed by the stamp, and that's the Island Indigo. So when I come now to do the next step, which is the little dots, it's like lots of little dots, and it creates the shadow contrast. So for the contrast, we're using Night of Navy for both of these, and because it's photopolymer, you can see through the stamp and line it up. But because these are very sketched stamps, it doesn't matter if you are not completely bang on. So that's the Night of Navy on top of Tempting Turquoise. And this one is Night of Navy onto Island Indigo. And then I'll show you with this one, which was the stamped off Tempting Turquoise. If I then put Night of Navy back on there, and there you can see it's another balloon again. So you actually get 3 different types of balloon just by using the same ink pads, and the possibilities are really endless. So let's punch these out. So start here. Just bunch them out. I just want a couple for this. Punching out baby balloons at the same time though. And I also want one that is just from Night of Navy cardstock. Again, the large balloon. There we go. No, it's got a piece missing. Try again. There we go. And that plain one gives it kind of gives a bit of depth, and it just adds to the image. And I think I'm going to slot 3 balloons in, possibly there. Don't know. I'll see once I've finished building. Righty ho. And then you want your stamp. I'm using the congratulations, again using Night of Navy ink. So this is just a scrap. I think it's a cut off piece of Whisper White cardstock. And I'm using Night of Navy. I don't like how that has come out, so flip it over. At some point I will try using my, and again, I haven't used this stamp before, and I've told you about seasoning stamps, haven't I, before? Right. And then another punch, which is the washi label punch. And just centre that up. I'm sure what you will notice is that Stampin' Up takes great attention to detail in terms of making sure that their stamps fit in the punches. It just all works together. Right, we can now shut all of these ink pads, and then I don't have to worry about contaminating anything with ink. There we go. Right, let's bring our card back in. And I think I'm going to mat the little sentiment about there. So let's get some Stampin' dimensionals, but I actually want to use these narrower bits here. Don't like waste. And these are perfection. I've already popped it on the back. Right, take that off, take the backing off, and then this can then slot down on the top there. And there is your finished card. That was pretty easy really, wasn't it? So I hope you think so. Oh no, look, balloons. I always forget something at the last minute. Dear me. Now what should we go for? Do we go for 3 balloons or 2? Take that one out, take that one in. I think I prefer that. Yeah. Right, fast fuse on the Night of Navy balloon or Tombow. And just put them at slightly opposing angles, and then you want a couple of Stampin' dimensionals on here. And you can see I never waste anything, so if you can turn something over, just scraps that's been printed on one side, there's no reason why you can't turn it over and use it for something else. So just a couple of dimensionals on there, and that will just help this to pop up from the base there. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is it. And that's it for today. So thank you for watching, and I hope you have enjoyed today, and don't forget that all of my social media information is in the show more section of today's video, and you will also see that there's a link to today's blog post which coordinates with or works alongside. So I actually do a typed up tutorial as well as giving you the video, so it just makes it easier. If you want to print the tutorial off, then you can. And on there is also all the products, so you see product icons of all the items I've used today, and if you click on those icons it will take you straight to that item in my online store. So say if you wanted to order the bundle, the balloon celebration bundle, it would take you straight to that product, so you could put that order through. Even if you're not in the UK, it will simply default to the same place but in stampinup.net, so if you're in the States, for example. So don't think you won't get redirected, you will. And obviously I love to see you all, whether you're a demonstrator or whether you're a hobby stamper or a complete novice. Love to see you following my Pinterest community board. Links again are below, and once you start following that board and I see that you're a crafter, particularly paper crafter, then I will send you a link. I'll send you an invitation to follow or start joining. Sorry, my words are everywhere. I've had a migraine and it completely makes me dysphagic, which just means my words don't come out right. So I do apologise. I feel like I'm always apologising, but I do apologise. I'm not daft, I promise. And yeah, so if you would like to start putting your pictures onto my community board, just follow the board and I'll send you an invitation, and then you can choose whether or not you want to follow the invitation up and start pinning. I just love to get to know you all, and I love seeing the creations that you make, or even if it is pins from other places that you find and you think, oh, I'd love to share that on there. Do it. Alright, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Ta-ta for now.